What's up, dudes? We're going to be talking about a special announcement that I personally have that a lot of people have been asking questions about, and then we'll tie it into another announcement that your boy Harmless Content's going to have. What would I call you? My assistant, my manager, my content editor, my media relations personal assistant. I don't know. All of those.
Editor/media consultant.
Editor/media consultant. He's not thought of that forever. Okay, so my personal announcement is where am I going to be playing baseball, or if I'm going to be playing baseball, because there's a lot of people that comment about am I going to continue to play, and let's just go ahead and nip that in the butt. I'm going to play until this right arm falls off, and then I'll play until this left arm falls off. So that's going to be a yes, but where I will be playing is a familiar place in Pomona, New York. I'm going to be returning to the New York Boulders in the Frontier League, not just as a starting pitcher, but it will be my first endeavor dabbling in the coaching sphere of baseball life. So yeah, I'm going to be a player coach is what we call it. Which is actually pretty common for those of you guys who don't know, like independent baseball, pretty common. And I think it's super cool because A, I get to still pitch, be a starting pitcher as well. And then B, I've never been like a technical coach before, but I've obviously like helped instruct or help teach, throughout seasons, wherever I go, try to be as helpful as possible. But I've never had the role of coach. I've never done a mound visit before. And I'm like extremely excited to do that, not only for the reason because it sounds extremely cool to be a player coach, but because talking about like my future, everyone always asks me like if I'm going to want to coach at like, professional level or collegiate level, like be a pitching coach. And I've always actually kind of been turned off of the idea of like coaching under a team environment. I just thought like for me to be as valuable as possible to whoever I'm instructing, I feel like that's just best presented in like a one-on-one private sector way. So this will be a good opportunity to kind of know for sure. So that is my announcement for where I'm going to be playing and what I'm going to be doing, my role. It's going to be extremely fun. It's going to be extremely new. But to add even more excitement to that announcement, I'll have you now tell us what you are going to be doing, because why else would you be in this freaking video with me? Because if it wasn't for this announcement, then I would just be in my room. But what do you got, man?
Well, I'm going to follow you 52 hours in a car all the way to New York.
Is it 52? Or is that what I said?
Did you look it up? 52, and then I looked, and it's like, yeah, it's 52.
You're actually still drinking the smoothie. That's terrible product placement. Yeah, that's why I drank mine and threw it away. Okay. Anyways, back in
3, 2, 1.
So he's going to be joining. Why, how, what, where, when? Okay. To answer all those questions, I came up with the idea when I was in Puerto Rico. I got the news that there was interest from my manager that he wanted me as a player coach while I was in Puerto Rico. I spent a little bit of time thinking about it, like logistically, how would it work? And just to give you guys context on like my kind of, lifestyle during a season is like, I'm very busy. So that was kind of the only hesitation for me to accept it, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, back to him. And then I had the idea of like, oh, well, like where's he at in his journey? And like, what does he want to do? Obviously like talk to him first about the, the option of doing this and coming with, then I relayed that to my manager. And honestly, I think for me talking to him, I didn't think it was going to be something that they were like super like into at first, but basically I presented the question with like, where are we at from a social media standpoint with the New York Boulders? Is there any like emphasis there? Because I've been pretty vocal with how I think marketing in general in Major League Baseball and baseball in general is not as great as other sports, and therefore like our sport itself, entertainment wise, is like declining. So with what he's been doing for me for like what, the last 5-6 months, like actually legitimately editing content
Like
for me, more than that.
time, yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Longer than that. I was like, this could be a really cool opportunity. So I presented that to the New York Boulders staff. We ended up having some Zoom calls, got the GM, everyone involved. Were super for it. They actually loved the idea of like increasing our, popularity or just like the notoriety of not only a beautiful game, but like obviously the New York Boulders too. So he's going to be joining me this year. And I don't even know what I would call like your role.
I don't either.
I don't think we've even
I
talked
don't
about
think
that.
there is like an official title.
But basically, the way I presented the information was basically taking him, what he does for me and my brand, and doing it for the New York Boulders, right? Obviously, with a team platform, there's a lot more like opportunities to do very, very cool stuff. So they, like I said, they were super into the idea. We obviously had to kind of paint a better picture for what it was going to look like in season, because I think there's this kind of like gray area for social media and it kind of being portrayed as like a joke. Obviously, we're trying to win a championship and we take our job like extremely serious. We're still going to be producing a ton of content surrounding the team. I'm targeting more of like entertainment value, obviously, and then showcasing the beautiful game of baseball in the way that like him and I would see it, or everyone in uniform would perceive it. Give that to you guys in terms of watching from your device or whatever, and also like the instructional, educational side. So if you guys obviously follow me for a while, I kind of dabble in both entertainment and instruction, education, inspiration, motivation, all that stuff that ends in ION. But I want to kind of take that to like the New York Boulders, because look, I'm one person, I'm a pitcher, and there's only so much that I can kind of teach. But like, dude, we have a whole team that now maybe can jump in and give whatever. So that's a great segue into like him and I were talking earlier about, what some of the ideas that we had for content creation during the season. And I don't know what you think on that in terms of what you plan on doing, what you think is like going to be the coolest piece to the creation aspect of it from your end, in terms of like what you picture doing. Obviously, like we can kind of strategize everything now, but it's going to maybe be totally different when we're actually in person and it has all those people and all the guys there. But what do you think in terms of like ideas, just to give the audience, something to look forward to? Possible
In-game mic'd up stuff, because that's dope.
I think I can speak for probably everyone watching this that is a baseball fan. Like the mic'd up in-game stuff, like they did it the other day in Pittsburgh Pirates spring training game. Did you see that? They mic'd up Michael, I forget his last name. Anyways, it was hilarious, outstanding. We want to do a lot of mic'd up stuff. Hopefully we can find easier ways, I think, to go about it in terms of trying not to be a distraction towards the players, and then B, obviously like getting it to where it looks professional. So
I want to do like pitcher catcher interactions, like talks, because not a lot of people knows what goes on. Maybe even a mound visit.
It's my first year doing mound visits. I think I said that earlier, and I would love to have like, how cool is that? Like, because now, what if I have like kids or grandkids and I could be like, oh yeah, you want to see my first ever mound visit?
Boom, look
boom,
up YouTube.
Into the hard drive, boom, it's there.
Yeah.
But then I was also thinking like, what if we mic me up and I just like freeze and I'm like, okay, I have no idea what to say. Like, and then it looks really bad, and then you have that against me, and then you're like, hey, I want to raise.
Yeah.
Or I'll release this.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I already have a folder set up.
Okay. Okay. I think
Tread lightly.
I think the pitcher catcher stuff, like, so some of the stuff that I did in the bullpen, obviously valuable, but then like the in-game pitcher catcher stuff, like I think in the dugout, I think the whole foundation of this is to have an organization like the Boulders and having a manager like TJ Stanton who's like super open to this, right? Because I think I said it earlier, like when I presented this, I thought it was going to get like kind of shut down, or like, oh yeah, maybe we'll put it on the back burner.
It's just a weird area.
It's just a weird area, and I don't think anyone does it. Yeah. Right. I think MLB is doing a better job now, but like if you look at it in terms of the reasoning, is like everyone has, smartphone in their pocket. Everyone's so connected to it. And in terms of popularity, obviously being independent baseball, popularity is already going to be down. But my stance on it is like making the New York Boulders the most popular professional baseball team that there is. So aside from mic'd up in-game content, like we said earlier, maybe some like...
I want to do like individual, like get to know players, learn from the players, like you said, instructional.
Yeah.
Like get to actually know them versus just like, I guess, like just
seeing them on the field.
Yeah, just seeing them and like
I think that,
highlights of him like hitting in BP type thing.
Yeah, I think, and that's what I don't want to like paint this picture of like, oh, they're just going to be creating content like highlight reels.
Yeah.
It's going to be more than that. It's going to be like in-depth stuff, like getting to know, like he said, like your players. So therefore, then the local fan base is going to be more attached to these players. They have a personal connection, a personal relationship established. Like how many times do you binge a TV show on Netflix and you're like, man, that guy, like I feel
Tom Holland.
Yeah. Well, that's not a TV show, but yeah. Anyways, but then you're going to be more subjected to, want to go and see games. And then therefore more people see games, more people that know those people are maybe going to want to see games. And therefore you increase the popularity just by simple marketing. But getting to know the players, I think like I said earlier with the idea of like, okay, homeboy's our second baseman. What do you got for us today? Like having a, instructional tip type thing there. So like you guys know that I do like outing breakdowns, and that's just coming from one lens, right? Like how cool would it be to have like, we get to the field early, like a day after my start, get with my catcher from the day before, and we do like a dual outing breakdown, like what he's seeing, what I'm like. Yeah. I just think the value in all of the potential content that could be created from what we're doing in the season and having totally like multiple different voices, like it's going to be super instructional, super educational. And I think it checks a lot of boxes in terms of like why people consume content in the first place. They want to be entertained, maybe escape reality, like disconnect, and they want to be like educated, inspired, uplifted, whatever. I think it checks all those potential boxes. Also, the podcasting, I think, could be a cool thing where we get a lot of different people on the mic and just talk. Also, like, I hope that he doesn't think that I'm joking when I say that he's catching my bullpens this year, because he caught me today in a flat ground and it wasn't as bad as I thought. But that's the story for a different story. What? There's a fly and I can't stop staring at it. Him and I are going to be driving out to New York probably the end of April. Training camp starts May 6th. Training camp's going to be a little bit shaky in terms of the creation of content, because like training camp, you never really know what's going to happen with each and every player. But we're going to be leaving. We're going to be driving together. There's going to be a lot of content that's going to be produced on our road trip. He's going to have a vlog. I'm not so sure if I'm going to do another vlog because I'm obviously going to be strapped for time. But be sure to subscribe and follow all his stuff. We'll include all the links in the description or the caption, whatever you're watching this on below. But I want to provide some context in terms of like, because I know a lot of people see him in my stuff and they're seeing him right here, and I have bigger quads than him, and they're saying like, okay, well, what's his background? Maybe you're a little curious here. First time we threw together?
17 or 18, one of the two.
17. Oh, it would have been before my lat surgery. So 17. Okay, so first time throwing together, 2017. He went to the same high school, 6 years younger.
7.
You graduated in 16. I graduated in 10. How's that 7?
You have to go off your age.
No, you have to go off the year you graduated. Everyone knows that.
That buys you a year.
No, that's like eligibility, or that's like, hey, how old are you in terms of like being a professional? Like, all right, so you're 23, I'm 30. I get it. When's your birthday?
That's probably July 2nd, 1998.
You could literally Google that and you have all that information.
Oh, yeah.
July 2nd? Yeah, well, you'll turn 24 before I turn 30.
Yeah,
One.
So
Whoa. Anyways, so him and I, being from the same town, first threw together in 2017, and it started more as like a coach player relationship than anything. Like maybe obviously
we knew of each other, and then I think Casey exchanged the numbers, and then I think you popped in for maybe like one of
one of those lessons.
That's how we first
I never saw a game. I never saw you pitch or whatever. There was one time where I threw a bullpen when I was with St. Louis or something.
Yeah, and I was and
you were there,
sophomore or junior year.
And I mean, I had heard of him in terms of like him being a pretty decent pitcher. went to the same high school. Our graduating classes are like 400, so it's not like a big school. Yeah. So when anyone is a good athlete in this town, you hear about it. But I just think the dynamic was really interesting because like we first started throwing together, like I said, it was more of a player coach. I was actually watching some old content from like when we first started throwing together, mic'd up, when I came home from Omaha. And it was just like what I was the way that I was talking to him and the way that he was talking to me is like kind of hysterical, knowing where we're at right now. Tell us about your journey, where you're at now, and why this opportunity for you to come this season and work for the Boulders just makes sense.
Well, the first time,
so much.
The first time I saw you throw was when I was a sophomore, right? Junior.
That's not the question I asked.
Well, you said, "Who am I? How do we?" And then how did we get to Boulders?
I said, what's your last 4 years? I mean, I laid it up in terms of like high school, junior college, D2, and now like where you're at now.
Oh, okay, we're off that, right?
I mean, yeah, go ahead.
No,
take it from the top.
No,
the problem with that is like
you pretty much got it out
in your journey as of right now because you're still an aspiring pitcher in this game. Where are you at now, and how does like this make sense for you in terms of like not only prolonging, your ability to be in the game of baseball, your first time ever being around professional baseball, but how does it
scale,
how does it make sense for you where you're at now, and then moving forward, like goals, aspirations?
Well, not only I'd say I get to surround myself with a lot of probably high level athletes. Yeah. And I get to learn from them. I get to work with them.
Yeah.
And then, I got to get Tommy John. And
yeah, so I mean, I think that's like kind of the big like elephant in the room.
Yeah.
Is like where he's at currently, which doesn't make sense to me.
Me either.
But
Tommy John.
He got an MRI that said it was a full tear.
High grade to full.
High grade to full tear of UCL.
And a bone spur.
But who doesn't have those, So like right now it was funny because when I first got home and we started like throwing together again, I didn't expect, I think the first time out I told my dad to come to hit the fungo.
Yeah.
And then like ever since we just kind of been building, correcting a lot of patterns for him and, really optimizing his throwing mechanics. And like, I think this is the best you've ever thrown currently. Yeah. But yeah, like you said, he needs Tommy John. So obviously not currently playing. He won't even throw to me in a live ABs. But in terms of like where you see, this going and then this opportunity kind of taking you into a different echelon of goals for you.
Yeah. I mean, it also makes sense because I am editing for you already.
Yeah.
And then, so now I get to like almost venture out a little bit, like kind of expand what I'm able to do. Yeah. Because I'll be able to, it's not just for you, it's going to be like professional, but also entertainment. Like,
well, I think just like in the last like 5 months, and I hate to say this on camera, but like the growth that I've seen from you, from like the editing aspect, I got to say this. So this whole thing, like this deal that you guys see, right? Like the throwing stuff, it happened because of a lie.
Yes.
Right. So like I remember, I think it was 2020 during COVID, maybe a year earlier.
It was like right when you were first putting me on the camera, because we did have a period where we
had the mic'd up camera. So it would have been right when I got home in 2019 from Omaha. And I asked him like real quick, I was like, hey, I'm like super busy. I was doing lessons at the time too. That's why I had so much content. And I was like, do you mind, like, do you know how to video edit? Like, do you know how to use iMovie? Which
I think you even said like, dude, I'm like looking for an editor. And then I just
yeah. So the way that he, like, credit to him, like he was super like confident in like his presentation towards, I know how to do everything. In reality, you didn't know.
I had zero experience and just like zero.
And it was interesting too, because it wasn't bad. Like I remember just those clips, like super simple stuff. Like it's not anywhere close. But that's what I was saying is like in the last 5 months, the growth that I've seen from him from an editing standpoint, like I'm super excited and super curious to see like how this can then be transferred into like a team environment, like a team atmosphere. But with you needing like Tommy John, I think it'll be cool, obviously, to be around the guys and learn and whatever, but to continue his throwing.
Yeah.
And like, because like I would say you're kind of in a rehab,
Yeah.
I don't know what.
It's like a rehab prep for surgery, but we're just riding it out.
Yeah. So is your goal to then get the surgery?
I think eventually there's going to be a point where I'm going to get the surgery, but I mean, if I'm on an uptrend, why rush?
Okay.
You know what I mean?
So you said the other day your surgery, you're trying to plan it for like after we get, after we get back.
After we're done.
So say you need the surgery.
Yeah.
Then like moving forward, like you don't get a surgery if you don't plan on like playing baseball anymore. So you obviously still want to play. Yeah. I think this opportunity for you could be extremely valuable because after the surgery, who knows, like the game is all about connections.
Yeah. So
like you being around like professional coaches, whatever. And I hope, you can still continue your throwing and stuff like that. But I think my biggest question to you would be, what are you excited most for besides potentially living with me in a dorm
different realm
this upcoming season? What are you most excited for?
I think just kind of I like the flow of just like getting into a season, or like once we kind of get like the scheduling and everything starts running smooth, just like seeing like what gets created, like like all the, and then how like we
how it turns out.
Every day we're like coming up with something new, and we're just kind of like want something hits, and then we just try and build on that, like innovate that a little bit more, and just kind of seeing where we go.
Yeah, I love the word innovate. So yeah, that's what I would say too. Probably not that my answer, but I'm like super curious because like obviously we're trying to paint a picture when in reality we haven't really done anything like this. Like, I still create content during the season, try to do like segments and whatnot. But like, I'm super curious to see the reactions like of everybody. I think everyone's going to dig it. I already know firsthand, like a lot of people are going to dig it. And I'm curious to see like what the final product looks like. And then what you guys, like the audience, like, reacts to that.
Well, that reminds me, I'm probably going to regret saying this, but my DMs are open for suggestions.
I remember when I used to say that.
And
DMs are open.
DMs are open.
You guys need help with anything? DM me.
Inbox open.
Yeah.
For anything like they want to see.
Yeah. So
I think at the end of the day, they're probably the most important.
I think that's the coolest part too. And that was going to be another segue into thinking about things that I'm excited for as I'm just sitting here thinking about things that I'm excited for, was the constant like ideas, because you're around a lot of baseball guys. And the access to hearing your guys' voice too through his DMs is going to be extremely cool.
Yeah.
I think sky's the limit. There's no like huge, I would say there's no huge restrictions. We got pretty full go on the creation aspect of it. It's going to differ per individual.
Yeah.
But I already know firsthand 3 of the starting pitchers are going to be wearing microphones. That's another thing too. I think now transitioning from what are you most excited about to what is like going to be the hardest pieces to like the job.
Oh yeah.
Is I think in the beginning it's going to be like, okay, I've never done this before.
Yeah.
How do I go about in-game doing this, doing that? I think your biggest hurdle is honestly going to be working the cameras, like manning the cameras, which is something that you've never done.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be like probably going to have 3 running at once.
Early work. So we should start that pretty soon.
Yeah, I'll be in the stands doing laps and with 4 cameras in the bag.
Yeah,
weights on my back.
I think we could literally just sit here, and this is probably what we're doing already, but just sit here with the mics on and just continue to come up with ideas.
Yeah.
I would like, you guys know the hashtag slow-mos for the boys. Well, I'm saying that every game, every pitch, design during game, like all these like ideas coming to my mind right now. Holy smokes. So the question now you guys are all having is like, where can we see all this stuff? So obviously I'm going to still be continuing to like create content and posting content on my stuff. He's going to do the same for his, like we both have a brand, like we're both building our brand. But the brand of the New York Boulders is going to be built via Harmless on their platforms. And like I said, with his, we'll include the links to that in the social media accounts. We'll include the links to that in the description below. At New York Boulders on Instagram is the only one I know for sure.
Yeah.
I know they have a TikTok. That's another good thing that you guys probably want to know. What content platforms are we going to use? Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, Discord. A New York Boulders Discord?
That'd be kind of sick. And then you pull players in and you just like interactions.
Yeah, and then they can join it
through it.
Boulder giveaways?
Whoa.
Yeah. You gotta learn that handshake.
Yeah. Get to go to New York with you. and I get to don't look
It's
at
a
me
very
like
cliche answer.
that
Was very broad.
I get the opportunity to travel with you to New York and become, I don't even know what the official title is, but essentially what I do for you.
It's actually your responsibility to create the title, probably.
You think so?
You know how like organizations will hire someone and they're like, we don't really have a title for you?
I don't want to step on anybody's toes and be like media manager.
Media manager. You guys heard it first, folks, here.
Media creator. No,
manager. I feel like manager is like hands-on every aspect, like the creation of it.
But there's always like, that implies like I'm like the face.
Yeah.
And not the one doing.
You're doing both.
Like a king, and he has all of his, like the round table.
Did you just refer to yourself as a king?
No.
I think so. Frank, can we get a replay on that? Yeah, you did. Frank, cut it! What are you more excited for? Us continuing to work together, or your opportunity with the Boulders team and you doing something totally different?
I don't know. It's a tough one.
I think it's not.
You want me to say you?
Because it's...
But it's like Moana. It's a whole new world.
That's Aladdin. Okay, cut it. I can't. Shut
down. I'm going home.